Welcome back to Decent Exposure. I'm Dr. Sue, and this is Sabrina. We've already recorded. Now, I got to tell you, I don't know the order this is going on because Sabrina's going to be the one who edits this and makes it all pretty. But what we had already recorded prior to today was a session talking about COVID and being in a relationship and COVID and being single. And I think there's something that kind of gets lost when we separate people into those categories, like being in a relationship or being single. Well, even if you're in a relationship, you still kind of need to find your own time. And even if you're by yourself all the time, sometimes you need to make that concerted effort to make it like quality time with yourself. So Sabrina, you want to start us off talking about maybe some ways we can deal with that?
Yeah. Well, I first and foremost want to say that self-care looks different for everyone. And it's not necessarily like that pampering experience, right? That the way that you practice self-care doesn't have to look like how your neighbor practices self-care. And I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, so many of my friends like almost felt guilty because they were like, my self-care is watching Netflix. And they felt like there was something like wrong with them. Like they were ashamed of it because they thought, well, I should be the one like going out for these like 10-mile hikes and like working out and like eating healthy and, whatever, healthy eating means, right? Or like doing something quote unquote productive, like gardening or taking up baking. But that I feel like we just kind of need to get that out of our heads because it means something different for everyone. And at the end of the day, if whatever it is that you're doing allows you to relax and kind of unwind and helps you regain focus, then that is the right activity for you. So that's kind of just like I want to lay down the law with self-care. The other thing is that I think self-care can also look like just taking care of your body. I think, if we have children or if we're leading like really busy lives, or maybe we are a caretaker to someone who has a chronic illness or, maybe is like elderly, that can look a little bit different because we may not have as much time for ourselves. But I think we can oftentimes get really involved in the other activities that we're doing and making sure that everyone else is in order, that they're clean, that, they have had food, that quote unquote, again, self-care can just look like maybe an extra 3 minutes in the shower where you are like smelling all the smells of like your shampoo or your body wash, or you're just noticing the way that the warm water like trickles down your body, just the way that your feet feel in the water, like just little things kind of getting back into your body. And it can start with just being aware of the senses, right? So like, what can you hear? What can you smell? What can you touch? What can you taste? And even just in the shower for 3 minutes, like thinking like, what do I smell? What do I taste? What do I hear? What do I feel? So I don't know if that helps, Dr. Sue, but yeah, really just again, laying down the law that self-care doesn't need to look one way, and then it doesn't need to be like pampering. Like you don't need to go get a massage to have self-care. That can be a great way of doing that if that's what you like, but it can also be something much more simple than that.
Yeah. And I think it's also really easy to miss that when you're living by yourself. I think when you're taking care of other people, there's lots of websites and articles telling you take care of yourself. And I think that's one of the challenges that maybe parents are facing right now is that you're really getting to see what your spouse or partner or partners go through as a parent that maybe you don't have that same experience. So I think it's really easy to remind people who are in a relationship to take care of themselves. I think it's really important that we're reminding people who live by themselves because they have to do everything on their own. They're doing all the cooking, they're doing all the washing, they're doing all the everything. And so it may feel like all their time is their own time, but there's a difference between saying, I'm going to take this half hour and do whatever it is, whether it's watch the latest episode of whatever I'm binge watching or take that shower or whatever it may be. I think it's really important right now, especially with a pandemic, to just tell everybody that it's okay to kind of take some time for yourself, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's
I think that's great. Yeah, that's me too. So, in a nutshell, make sure that you are taking care of yourself. We hope that we've provided a few tips, But we'll also share some links to different articles because there are so many different ways to do it, and maybe it'll give you some extra ideas on things that you can implement. But again, we hope that you enjoyed this discussion. There will be many, many more. If you liked this video, we hope that you like it actually in the video with that little like button, and that you also subscribe, because then you will be the first to know when we post new content, and so that'll be super awesome. But again, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.